We're currently just talking about my GOAT. I like to call him President P, short for President Peace, because he is my GOAT. He is the peace president. He's the peacetime president. He did it. He did the damn thing. Okay, President PP. PP for short, President Peace. Because I know there will be some hogs in here that are like, oh, why don't you give him credit? It's like, yeah, in comparison to Brandon, he actually did enforce the power that he had over Israel. I mean, he could have done this in January, which would have received a Nobel Peace Prize, and he would have deserved a Nobel Peace Prize. The fact that he actually waited for like another 9 months is gross and disgusting. But at the end of the day, if we're going to measure him off of what Brandon did and what Brandon could have done and refused to do versus what he did, he did actually eventually say to Israel, it's over, it's done. As far as we know, because right now, once again, just like I said with the last ceasefire, if this is long lasting and this actually starts up the process of recovery, relief, and also recognition of a statehood, a recognition of sovereignty, true emancipation for the Palestinians, then I'm on board. That's great. So let's take a look. Breaking news. Donald Trump signs historic Gaza peace plan.
President Trump now signing that historic Gaza deal. Let's listen in.
Some were brought in and some were not. And they're working out to find out where those bodies are. It's hard to believe that you even have to say something like that. It's so sad. It's so sad. But what's not sad is that we have finally, after, I guess they say 3,000 years, I've heard from 3,000 years to 500 years, but whatever it is, it's a lot. But this was the one, this was the granddaddy of them all, and frankly, I thought this was probably going to be the toughest, and maybe in many ways it was, but we had a lot of good talent. Steve Witkoff, Jared, Marco, and Pete, and General Kane.
3,000 years, more like 3 million. You don't understand. 3 million years. It's been promised. It's been promised to Israel. It's Israel. Israel. I love the Bible. It's in the Bible. You know me. I'm a big Bible fan. I'm a big Israel fan. I am feeling more confident about the longevity of the ceasefire just because of how much Trump has put his personal brand behind it. Given how hard he's going at owning it, it would be very embarrassing for it to break down now. His statement on Hamas made me feel more confident as well. Yes, this was actually another unique moment where Donald Trump says the quiet part out loud in a way that is so unexpected from any American leadership whatsoever. This was a huge moment. Correspondent goes, Hamas is rearming itself as a police force shooting rivals. What's the message to Hamas? And Donald Trump straight up goes, that's going to happen. They're taking control over the strip. They've been open about it. They have to do it. Many, many chaotic moments. This literally has happened so many times with Trump because he just doesn't abide by the normal diplomatic PR trained answers that are required of him in the way that other politicians would. Because of that reason, he will sometimes just say shit that is true, but you would never hear from an American president or even an American politician. He did this with the Houthis. If you remember, he did this with the Houthis. With the Houthis, he was like, yep, they're brave. They're the bravest fighters you've ever seen. The Houthis, they're so brave. They're brave fighters. We couldn't do it. We had to do a deal with the Houthis. They're good fighters. They really got it down, the fighting. And it was shocking when he fucking said that because you just don't expect that from an American president. Or if you remember from many, many years prior, when Trump was originally running for president in 2016, when he had moments like that a lot more frequently, when he wasn't as like Washingtonian brained, he would say stuff like, I think it was with Bill O'Reilly, where he famously once said like, you know, Putin's got killers. Well, we got killers too. We're not such good guys either. Like, it's stuff like that every now and then comes out of his mouth where you're just like, I never expected an American politician to say that. It's weird. It feels like he just has like accidental truthful moments, partially because he just says whatever comes to his mind. And because he's never experienced any repercussions for it throughout his goddamn career as a politician, he just will sometimes arrive at a correct position.
Of Hamas rearming, instituting themselves as a Palestinian police force, shooting rivals. What is your message to Hamas?
We are standing because they do want to stop the problems, and they've been open about it, and we gave them approval for a period of time. You have to understand, they've lost probably 60,000 people. That's a lot of retribution. They've lost 60,000 people, and the ones that are living right now were, in many cases, very young when this all started. And we are having them watch that there's not going to be big crime or some of the problems that you have when you have areas like this that have been literally demolished. You know, you have 2 million people, and probably it'll be less than that, but you have close to 2 million people going back to buildings that have been demolished. And a lot of bad things can happen. So we want it to be safe. I think it's going to be fine.
Mr. President,
Who knows for sure, Katie, but I think it's going to be fine.
Mr. President.
That right there is like one of those unique moments where he's just like, yeah, we're letting him do it. Which, by the way, can change at any moment, right? Because like someone on the Israeli side will be like, no, we have to fucking use that back and forth conflict as an opportunity to go back in to the Gaza Strip with the Israeli military, and Trump will turn around and say it, right? So he's saying that the U.S. is approving of Hamas acting as an interim police force, which is probably true, but they would never say that. No, of course it's true, obviously. Like, we're talking about millions of people that live here. They have to have some kind of governance. Otherwise, it's chaos. Of course it's true. Of course it's going to be who already controlled the Strip prior to October 7th. They are the only ones with the organizational capacity at this moment. And Israel, knowing full well that there is like sectarian conflict even within the Gaza Strip, with a bunch of criminal elements within the Gaza Strip, have utilized a different clans within the Gaza Strip to actively steal aid and actively fucking shoot at people and create chaos at the point of aid delivery, things of that nature. Like they've been utilizing different factions within the Strip over and over again. So obviously, in order to reassert control in the interim period while the ceasefire continues, the people that are in charge before they actually dissolve are going to do that. And Trump understands that because it makes sense. It has to happen.
So great. John Ratcliffe was incredible. We had an amazing array of talent, and we were helped by, in particular, the countries represented at this table. I will say, Tamim, you were fantastic, and your country is unbelievable, and I don't think they give you a fair shake. They talk about you as the...
But yeah, it's an absolute embarrassment for the Democrats that Donald Trump has shown more interest in ending the killing in Gaza than Joe Biden did. I know that a lot of Democrats are going to get mad for myself saying this, for other leftists saying this, but this is not only the reality, even though Donald Trump's hands are also bloody here. Make no mistake, okay? He is also a butcher. He is also responsible for the wholesale slaughter of Gaza. While that is still true, between him and Biden, he looks better on this issue. And that is what's so crazy about this. This is what I have been saying over and over again. Like, the Democrats do not understand. They are losing people to one of the most incompetent, one of the most transparent, belligerent fascists of all time. And everyone is going to give him his flowers over and over again now. And the Democrats are just going to sit around and look petty. You should clarify that losing people in this instant isn't leftists becoming Trump or Republican voters. Yeah, no, there is a large swath of normies out there that are just not tuned into anything. Many of those normies have decided Israel's doing something bad, but they don't really give a shit about it too much. But they just don't think that it's okay that we're giving so much money to Israel, right? They will hear that Donald Trump ended the genocide. They will hear that Donald Trump ended the war, right? And they'll go, okay, well, time to give him credit, I guess. That's what they will remember.
You're not a nice person, and you happen to be a nice person. You happen to live in a little tough neighborhood. You're surrounded by everybody. And without you, this wouldn't have happened. And I just want to thank you very much. That's Qatar. And he's an amazing leader. And another man who's been a friend of mine for a long time. I don't know what it is. I like the tough people better than I like the soft, easy ones. I don't know what the hell that is. It's a personality problem, I suspect. But this gentleman from a place called Turkey has one of the most powerful armies actually in the world. It's much more powerful than he even lets known. If you look.
Oh my God, Glaze. Turkey is, alongside Qatar, one of the only countries in that region that actively and openly does not say Hamas is a terrorist organization. They not only host Hamas Politburo members, but they also have a very different position. Despite being under the American security apparatus, the American security umbrella, they will openly state that Hamas is not a terrorist organization, it's a resistance organization. The reason why the Turkish involvement here was significant is because I think their involvement signaled to Hamas that they would be treated more fairly, that they wouldn't be over. Now, I don't trust Erdogan as far as I can throw him. I don't think he's a trustworthy person, but I clearly the Palestinian resistance side in general made that calculation a little bit differently than myself. Here's some more information on this. Turkey, Qatar, and other regional states would not let Hamas be destroyed despite being verboten in U.S. and U.S.-led countries. Hamas is treated with normal diplomatic protocol in Moscow and Beijing because the group plays an important role in this stage of the larger conflict. Yeah, Gershon Baskin notes how Turkey's spy chief Ibrahim Kalın helped Hamas get over the finish line. In conclusion of these first thoughts, President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Steve Witkoff is a deal maker, and without Witkoff, none of this would have happened. Witkoff speaks for the president. Everyone knows it. Jared Kushner's role at this point was crucial because in the near future, Ron Dermer will be working for Kushner and not for Netanyahu. Bringing Kushner for the final round of negotiations was a brilliant move to neutralize Dermer's defined role of foiling every chance of ending the war. The Turkish head of intelligence very close to Witkoff and to Hamas, and the Turkish intensive role was crucial in putting the pressure on Hamas to agree to the deal and not to walk away from the table.
Look at some of the recent conflicts. He was at the top of them, and he was winning them, and he did win them. And he doesn't want any credits. He doesn't want anything. He just wants to be left alone. He's a tough cookie, but he's been my friend. And every time I've ever needed him, he's been there for me. So I just want to thank President Erdogan, Turkey. Because he is difficult. They call me. They said, would you do me a favor? Could you speak to Erdogan? And I do. And he never fails us. Right, General? He never fails. He's amazing. So I just want to thank you for the friendship. It's good. Thank you very much. And then, of course, we have the host tonight. And I just want to thank you very much. There was a reason we chose Egypt because you were very helpful. And very, very helpful. Everybody wanted to have this, but we really thought it was appropriate. And you are a great leader. You have very little crime. You have problems that other countries don't have. And of course, nothing's perfect, but the job you do is amazing, and I want to thank you. Another one, we've been my friend right from the beginning during the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton.
Oh my God, I can't believe that this motherfucker's talking about crooked Hillary Clinton in Sharm el-Sheikh, bro. Oh God. I love how the FIFA president was invited to this, by the way. Yeah, you got Macron in the background, too. All the besties are here, okay? Incredible.
We were both downstairs waiting to go up to meet this gentleman who has a place called Egypt, the oldest civilization. They say 6,000 years. China is 5,000 years, but you're actually number one, 6,000 years. Can you believe it? But the oldest, they say, civilization. But so I would.
That's your president, my guy. I can't believe it. Every day that passes by and I see how people behave on the internet, I understand why he's the president. I think this is the best it's going to get. I think he is reflective of how Americans are.
To meet him first, and we like each other so much that she waited for about an hour and a half. And I think your meeting lasted about 2 minutes with her. So I always remembered that. But that was our first meeting. We had great chemistry together. And he's a fantastic man and a fantastic general, by the way. But he's a great president. And I want to thank Egypt and all of your representatives for treating us all so well. We're really representative of a whole group of nations, and they're sitting behind us, and you know most of them. I can tell you this guy's got so much money. They all have so much money. There's more money and power sitting behind us. I love that they're behind us. We've never been sitting behind anybody before. This is a very unique position for them, but they are.
Netanyahu canceled the trip to Egypt. Oh, yeah. So Netanyahu's, here it is. This is senior Middle East correspondent for I-24 News. Ariel Osaran says Netanyahu's decision to cancel his trip to Sharm el-Sheikh came following opposition by numerous countries that presumed Egypt to prevent Netanyahu from attending the Gaza Peace Summit, an Arab source tells I-24. So he wasn't initially invited. Donald Trump actually wanted him to come, and all of the other countries that are involved especially the ones that are in the region, did not want Netanyahu there because I think they didn't want to be seen side by side with Netanyahu. They didn't want to be seen like shaking his hand or anything like that. And then he basically was disinvited quickly. The source stated that countries such as Turkey, Spain, Iraq, South Africa, and others claim that since they do not allow Netanyahu to fly over their territory due to the ICC arrest warrant against him, therefore he should not be invited to the summit and seen in their midst. Sources close to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas relayed messages to Cairo that this is not the time for a handshake with Netanyahu, the source said. Additionally, a group of journalists organized in Egypt sought to join forces with the Hind Rajab Foundation to examine the possibility of contacting a local Egyptian court to issue an arrest warrant against Netanyahu. According to the Arab source, following internal consultations mainly with the security establishment, it was decided to avoid the embarrassment and Netanyahu canceled his trip to Egypt. This person says a peace summit without one of the belligerents present sounds real promising. No. The belligerent is present. Trump is there. The main belligerent is present. Everybody knows that. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's trip to Sharm el-Sheikh summit was conceived during his ride with President Trump from Ben Gurion Airport to the Knesset in Jerusalem, according to a source familiar with the details. When I spoke with President Trump while he was on Air Force One en route to Israel, he didn't know that Netanyahu hadn't been invited to the summit and said that the Egyptians were the ones responsible for the invitations. During the ride to the Knesset in the Beast, Trump told Netanyahu that he should attend. The source noted that Netanyahu agreed. A senior U.S. official said that afterwards, President Trump began mediating between Egyptian President al-Sisi and Netanyahu. The two haven't spoken since the start of the war in Gaza. Trump called the Egyptian president and asked him to invite Netanyahu to the summit. Shortly after, Sisi called Netanyahu and invited him. Netanyahu accepted the invitation. Then they disinvited him. Also, this shows you exactly where Sisi is. Donald Trump says jump. He says, how high? Donald Trump says, bark. Sisi gets on his hands and knees and barks. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has awarded the Nile Collar, Egypt's highest state honor, to President Trump for his contribution to promoting peace and most recently his pivotal role in ending the war in Gaza, el-Sisi's office said. I'm Egyptian and I'm embarrassed because of my president. I mean, yeah, well, I'm American and Turkish, so I know what that's like. I think there are very few countries on the planet that could be like, nah, I think my president is doing a decent job.
Seriously, they're among the most powerful countries in the world, the richest countries in the world, and there's never been really an assemblage like what we have today. I don't think I've never seen it anyway. And I want to thank everybody for being with us. Man, I just solved the war for him. Azerbaijan. Did I do a good job? Where did you come picture here? Where is Arius? You guys are still getting along, right? We fought for 32 years. In about 1 hour we settled it, right? And they like each other now, too. That's great. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here. Italy, she's a very strong ruler. She's doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. But we're actually going to be making a speech after this, so this is just a very important signing, but we're doing a signing, then we're doing a speech, and then I may stay behind with the leaders just to talk about that, some things without the press. I want to thank the media for you've been so respectful on this deal. You know the importance of the deal, and I really...
Dude, everything is small fry for this guy. Oh my God, everything. He's just happy that the media is like saying this is good. Like a ceasefire is a good thing. He's like, finally, they're being so nice to me.
It was so pleasant to watch. I was on the plane for quite a while listening to the various newscasts, and they were all fair. They were talking about how incredible this is. This is an incredible day for the world, let alone the Middle East. So I just wanted to thank the media. They really treated it with respect. I wish you could be like that on other things, but that's perhaps too much to ask for. But on this, tremendous, everybody feels the same. Just tremendous respect, and we appreciate it very much. Can we get the documents, please? Okay.
You'll sign right here.
Okay. This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up.
It's pretty funny that Trump is signing anything. Like, officially, the U.S. isn't a party of the conflict. So what the hell is he signing? Come on, man. It's time to get real. You know what I mean? First of all, technically, none of the people here are official parties to the conflict. But it doesn't matter. Everybody knows the truth. And it's not what Trump is saying with his mouth when he says like, oh, this has been going on for 3,000 years. We've put an end to it. Everybody understands that, of course, it's America that is like primarily involved in this. Why else do all of these other countries also sit idly by as this seemingly sovereign foreign state that is a settler colonial enterprise smack dab in the middle of this fucking resource-rich region is capable of being belligerent and attacking 7 countries at the same time, including some of those people that are there, like the Qatar. Remember, Israel directly bombed Qatar a month ago. Everybody understands why you guys have to sit there and be like, yes, Mr. President, you're doing a great job, Mr. President. Thank you so much, Mr. President. We love you, Mr. President. It is what it is. Yeah, it's all hail Daddy Trump.
So we're going to go and I'm going to say a few words. We'll give you a little speech, and then we're going to meet with the leaders after that and spend a little time together without the media. The media is invited to the speech. I just want to tell you the people behind me and some of the people in the room that are so helpful, but the people behind me are the greatest leaders, most powerful leaders, the richest leaders, frankly. Sometimes it's not politically correct to say that, but I'll say it, the richest in the world that the world has ever seen. And yet when you get to know them, I know every one of them in their own way, and I can say in particular some, because that's the way life works, but some of the greatest people you'll ever meet, and people that really care for their country.
Definitely. That's what I think of. I think of some of the best people there is, okay? There is not a single person there that I would say is like objectively a good person. That's so funny. That's the King of Jordan, for those of you who don't know. Sitting at 5'2" is a British colonial apparatus. Even Marx Carney, yes, especially the liberals that are sitting at this table also present this false reality, this notion that they actually care about law and order, that they actually care about like the international rule-based order that was designed, when they obviously don't. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. There are some that are fine. There are some that are better than others there, right? But like ultimately, it's just like a league of villains.
And why this happened is they all came together and they wanted to get Gaza straightened out. They wanted to get the whole thing straightened out. It got to a point where it was just crazy. And once they got together and once we started talking, it went really, Tamim, it went smoothly. It went so smoothly. You were such a big help, but it went so smoothly that nobody can even believe it, that we're sitting here and getting this all certified out and all done. And everybody's happy about it. Everybody's happy about it, like I've never seen before, actually. I've done other deals and people don't care as much. Big deals. I think they're big deals, but this is something that's taken off like a rocket ship. And it did from the beginning. And I've heard for years, this is the biggest deal. It'll never happen. For years, long before I ran for office, that this is the Middle East.
I cannot stress this enough. The Democrats literally wrap this up as a gift. Not only did they lose the election in part because of their lack of interest in doing this, but the very fact that they didn't do this and then Trump came into office and then did this, especially if it holds, is just a spectacular fumble. And I don't want to hear it from any of the liberals in the chat that would normally come in here and say shit like, oh, you're just like shitting on the liberals. They have no power in this situation. They had all of the power when they were in charge. And they didn't, I can't even say they squandered the power, because it doesn't seem like they squandered the power at all. It seems like they wanted this to continue happening. And now the entire world thinks that Donald Trump was capable of bringing about peace in the aftermath of 2 years of genocide.
The biggest, most complicated deal. And also it's the place that could lead to tremendous problems like World War III. They always talked about World War III would start in the Middle East. And that's not going to happen. We don't want it to start anywhere, actually, but it's not going to happen. So I just want to thank everybody, and I'll see you in a little while. And in particular, thank you all. Thank you, Tamim. Mr. General, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job. Thank you.
Am I doomer pilled for feeling like there's literally 0% chance this holds? I think the truth nuke doomer pill is that this does hold and the West Bank encroachment continues and we go back to business as usual where there's even more Western colonial control over the Gaza Strip and no resistance whatsoever from the Palestinian front as they slowly but surely go back to a life of being victim to slow burn ethnic cleansing, which heats up every now and then, when Israel does like sieges or whatever, as they did over and over again. And they continue to make the Strip uninhabitable for any Palestinian human being. And we just kick the can back down the road and the rest of the world turns a blind eye to it. The realities that you started recognizing after 2 years of genocide were realities that already existed, right? Many people saw what Israel was doing and wanted to read further. And then they realized, oh my God, everything I've been taught about this situation was wrong, right? But you have to remember, for 75 years prior to October 7, the conditions were still horrible for Palestinians. They were able to get away with it. Israel was able to get away with it because the world did not know. The world did not know what was going on. There was a sophisticated messaging apparatus that they took advantage of. It was a uniparty issue. It was seen as a uniparty issue. I think that's the real scary outcome of this, is that people go, come on, man. That's it. The ceasefire happened. What more do you want? It's like, you don't just move on from a genocide. Like, there needs to be process. There needs to be truth and reconciliation. There needs to be a process of restitution. The apartheid must end. The occupation must end. Palestinians must get sovereignty. And it's very obvious to me that just like with the symbolic state recognition, conditional state recognition from Western nations, this is America basically doing the same exact thing that like France did, but in their own way, which is, all right, we packed it up. No more genocide.